Hello and welcome folks to Agato's Flight School. Today I want to demonstrate glide and dive bombing. For the demonstration I have chosen a classic dive bomber, the U-87 Stuka from the Germans. And the first technique I will demonstrate is glide bombing. Glide bombing is at an angle of about 30 to 60 degrees below the horizon. It normally does not need the use of speed brakes, also that can be useful because you can control your dive speed with it, and it is a useful technique against ground units because in War Thunder they are often hard to spot. Now here you already see how I approach the target. I will always have my target out to the left or right of my nose, so I come around in a circle, and you see there is the truck. I'm a little bit close to it, so I now get into a good distance for a glide bombing approach. I always keep the truck at a point where I can see it, so never to my 12 o'clock or 6 o'clock. And now I have a good distance, altitude also fits. And now I will turn into, reduce the throttle somewhat so it's easier to recover from the glide or dive. Now what I need to do is I line up the target, and at around 500 feet I will drop just when it goes down there. Zack zack, and gone are the bombs, and you see, perfect hit. What is important, this truck was not moving, so if you are dropping on a moving target you have to account for, in the lead or in the dive, you have to account for it moving, and also you have to account for your set bombing timer. In this case it was stationary. The pattern of the drop you see is very good. I will zoom in. You see the 4 bombs are very close to it. If this truck would have been moving, I would have to lead in the direction of its move. So that was glide bombing. This will work with any planes carrying bombs, so you can use it for fighter bombers and dive bombers, and with a little bit of practice and experience for the aiming points on the different planes you will be able to securely destroy ground units. So in the next passage here in this video we will show a classic dive bombing approach. So wait a few seconds. And here we are setting up a classic dive bombing attack at a much steeper angle of more than 60 degrees. What is important, you need some altitude above the ground, so you have enough altitude to recover from the dive. And here I can already demonstrate you the first challenge. It is how to find the target. You see in the zoom I can identify it there, but if I zoom out it's barely possible to see the truck. I will get to an altitude of around 5,000 feet and try to have my target here, in this case on my right side, and try to slowly move over it. You see, I can just barely see it, but I will just remember the position. And now that I'm at altitude high enough, I will throttle back, extend the air brakes, roll over, throttle back fully. There is my target, you see it, and I will just put the crosshair directly close to it, and now I drop the bombs, I recover, air brakes in, and you see a hit. And what is important, my aiming point was a little bit too far. Still I killed the truck, but you see, if you dive in such a steep manner you can point your gun sight directly on the target, and normally you should hit the target right on. What is important, in this case you saw The U-87 has good air brakes and has a low speed, so I could dive down to a very low altitude and still recover from the dive. But in other planes you will have a much higher speed, and so what is important is try out which altitude is minimum for a safe pullout. And always remember that you throttle back, do not retract the air brakes while still in the dive, but first when you are recovering, so your speed is not critically built up and you do not black out in the pullout. I hope this helps you hitting ground targets with dive and fighter bombers. Always good fights, have fun people, and see you here again at Agathos Flight School.